Don't let the stars get in your eyes.
That's your guy.
We're listening to Perry Como's Don't Let the Stars Get in Your Eyes. It was one of Billboard's #1 songs back in 1953. And speaking of that era, Las Vegas, it's definitely a much different place today, if not for the presence of one of the most interesting men of the 20th century, billionaire Howard Hughes. He was a brilliant but eccentric man who spread around mountains of money during the years that he lived here.
And some of those mountains of money purchased Channel 8 back in 1968. George Knapp takes a look back at how KLAS ended up as part of the Howard Hughes empire.
That's my dad right there.
Las Vegas lawyer Gardner Jolly has been part of the KLAS family since before the station even went on the air. His father, Rube Jolly, was a construction bigwig who put together a coalition of other businessmen to launch Nevada's first TV station.
My father was an entrepreneur who liked better to be in new businesses where there was no competition.
Rube Jolly, who already owned KLAS Radio, was by far the largest shareholder in what became KLAS TV. Newspaperman Hank Greenspun was a minority partner, along with the owners of local furniture stores, who hoped to sell a lot of TVs. Las Vegas was mesmerized by the new medium, and yet
the TV station lost money in the beginning. If I would have been older, then I would have tried to convince my father to stay in the business, just because this town was growing so fast. You know that someone having a TV franchise is a big deal.
Rube Jolly cashed out in 1957 to Las Vegas Sun publisher Hank Greenspun, who might have kept the station forever if not for a constant barrage of late-night phone calls from an enigmatic billionaire who lived atop the Desert Inn Hotel, Howard Hughes.
This station was, for Howard Hughes back in the 60s, was his own private movie projector, his red box, if you were.
Hughes bought the station in part so he could call in at night and give orders about which movie to air, or if he'd fallen asleep, to restart a movie that was already playing.
One of the reasons he bought the station was that he wanted to see the movie Bullet, the Steve McQueen movie, the big chase scene through the streets of San Francisco.
At the time, Hughes was one of the richest men in the world and was on a Nevada buying spree. He bought a string of hotel casinos, huge tracts of land that would later become Summerlin and Green Valley, everything.
He'd buy an airplane if he liked it and put it on an airport and it would just sit there. But he'd never sell it. He never sold anything.
Former CIA employee Peter Mayhew and his family became Las Vegas royalty because they worked for Hughes. His father, Bob Mayhew, was the public face of the Hughes empire, the man who got things done. Hughes wanted to call the shots.
Yeah, he did want to control everything. That was Hughes. You know, it was all about power. It wasn't about showing up and having somebody introduce you. It was about power, and he didn't care to be visualized or seen. He just cared about power. When you think of the hotels that were owned and the number of employees we had, that just generates incredible power.
Hughes made cash payments to politicians all over the state. Peter Mayhew knows because he delivered many of them. Hughes' money helped turn KLAS into one of the best TV stations in the country. The billionaire already had a connection to Channel 8, the bungalow behind the station, one that's been used as a backdrop for countless live reports over the years.
You also want to spray down the perimeter of your home.
And which was a location shoot for this scene from the movie Casino, was Hughes' secret hideaway back in the years when he was a rich playboy, long before he became a recluse. If walls could talk.
Oh, it was a wonderful time. I mean, you know, we had a lot of money. We had private airplanes. We had private jets. We were hanging with the astronauts. We were, and Vegas was different. Vegas was a totally different town.
Hughes was one of the first inductees into the KLAS Hall of Fame, so those of us who work here see his likeness every day in the hallway. Howard Hughes' company, his company, the Summa Corporation, held on to Channel 8 until 1978 when it was purchased by Landmark Communications. Landmark, they owned us until 2014.
And you can see more stories like this Saturday at 6:30 right here on Channel 8 as we celebrate 65 years serving the Las Vegas Valley.